Terminology of analytics. I want to make sure we are all on the same page when we talk about analytics and understanding what these numbers mean. So visitor, as I said, is not a person, it's a device. It's any device that requests a page or a file, and by that I mean if it requests a PDF, if it requests an image, anything like that, that is a visitor or a user according to Google Analytics. Everything's time-stamped. They know what device you're on, what operating system you're using, what browser you're using. A page view is when that page is successfully delivered. When the server asks your computer, did you get the file? And your computer says, yes, I got the file. That is a page view. A session is the amount of time that someone is on your website. In order to know the session, it's all based on how much you're clicking. And so if you go to a website, that little exchange takes place. When you click to go to another page on that website, it's time-stamped, and there's another exchange of information. And every time you click for another page on that website, everything's time-stamped. So that's how it knows that you visited 3 pages in 4 minutes. However, when you leave a website, there's no way we can track that. We don't know. And most analytics programs have a 30-minute timeout. So how do they know how long you were on the site? Okay, source. This is where people came from. Source is organic search, paid search, direct. Other is if you're running campaigns that do not have tagging. That means if you're not using UTM codes to tag your campaigns properly, it shows up in other. What I'm looking at here, my users, this tells me how many people came to the site, the sessions, and this is how many times they've used the site, the pages per session, session duration, and the source. So those are all of my acquisition terms. Where people came from, how many were there, what pages did they see? Those are my acquisition level terms. Then there are my behavioral terms. What did people do? So the first one was where did people come from? Now I want to know what did they do. The entrance is how they entered your website. We also call that the landing page. Okay? Now that landing page could be from search. It could, on a direct visit, it's your home page, typically. And this gets us into page views. Page views, total number of times that page was viewed. Unique page views is the number of sessions including that. I know we're getting into some really nitty-gritty stuff here. An average time on page is just what it says. It's the average time on that page. The exit is what page people are on when they leave the site. My exit rate, well, if I divide the exits by page views for that page, that tells me the rate at which people leave that page. So exit rate is best used in context for a specific process. So for example, if I've got a sales funnel where they add something to the cart, they look at the cart, go to checkout, I'll create a sales funnel in my analytics, and I'm looking at my exit rate through that funnel. And that tells me when people leave and where my problem might be if I'm trying to troubleshoot. Now, on the other side of that is the bounce rate, okay? Bounce rate. That is, a bounce is when someone comes to my website and they see one page, and that's the only page they see. That is a bounce rate. I love working with bounce rate. We have found so many problems with companies and with pages by just looking at bounce rate. Because when you start looking at how these pages perform, what they're intended to do, and what people are supposed to do on those pages, that's where you really start finding some gold in taking care of your site. So behavior, now you'll notice, acquisition terms we went over first, and that's the first major button in Google Analytics. Second is behavior. That's your second button in Analytics. and then we'll go through here. So what I'm looking at under behavior is I'll look at all pages. You can also look at landing pages. Those are the pages that people entered on. All pages are just all pages in my website based on the amount of page views. Okay? So all pages means that I'm getting a report of every single page of my website starting with the top number of page views, how many times that page was looked at. Now, if I looked at landing pages, it would show me just the pages that appear in search, typically, or social referrals, or something like that. So it's based more on where people are coming from. So that's the difference between all pages and landing pages, is basically where people come from, all the pages on your website, their performance activity. So I know what page people entered on, and I then know, so here's my exit rate, where that page was the last one they saw in the session. Okay? That's the exit rate. Then there's the bounce rate. The bounce rate is how many times that was the only page they saw. So I know for Grandma's stuffed pepper recipe, 90% of the people that saw that page was the only page that they saw. Being successful, getting people to those pages, but I'm not engaging them when they're there. I'm not drawing them in. I'm not giving it. Now they're getting the recipe they want, and maybe that's all they want. But now I need to start thinking about, well, how do I engage them? How do I convert them into a subscriber? How do I give them something so that they can give me something? Conversion just simply means someone did something that I want them to do. People define conversion differently. Some only use the word conversion when it's a sale. That's the ultimate goal of what we're working for. So that's the only time I'm going to use that word. The problem with analytics is everything's a conversion. Anytime we get someone, persuade them to do something, it's a conversion. And that's where you get your conversion rate. Transactions. For e-commerce, this is just simply the amount of transactions that have taken place, sales, goal completions, and goal value. So a conversion, a completed activity. Sale, lead, subscription. That's what a lot of times conversion is meant. Goal is a target objective that I want to measure and that contributes to my business. So again, that's a lead, a purchase, a subscribed, getting someone's contact information. Goals are what you'll see if you're doing lead generation.